I'm Sean Myers, now joined by the head coach of the Hempfield area Spartans softball team, Tina Madison, as her team is set to compete for a WPIAL title in 6A against Seneca Valley. And first off, Tina, congratulations on getting to this point. It was a terrific regular season. You got a bye as the number 2 seed and then knocked off the rival Norwin Knights in the semis to get here. To this point, how have you evaluated the season?
I think really honestly, Sean, we're doing well. We're on the up and up. We had a really great win against Norwin. They're a very tough competitor. You know, seeing teams 3 times, it's extremely difficult. Facing lineups as a pitcher, sometimes, 9 times through a lineup as one pitcher is extremely difficult. So I'm super proud of our girls and our defense. Really, we're playing pretty strong right now.
Well, speaking of the win against Norwin, certainly it was not an easy one. Your team fell into an early deficit, but showing some resolve, I'm sure that was a welcome sight for you. What did you notice that allowed your team to make that big comeback?
Honestly, in the first 2 innings, like we were down 5-1. You could see, some body language was heading in the wrong direction, but we really got things turned around with Peyton's big hit. She had a 3-run homer, and it really, honestly, Sean, it changed the whole outcome of that game. We put us right back in the game, and I think it lit a fire under Riley. And they just kept battling and never gave up after that hit. So it was awesome.
Your scheduling had some quirks very late. You obviously played that game against Seneca Valley, the final section game, the day that the brackets were going to be released, much later than everyone else. But then you had almost 2 full weeks off because you got that bye. So how did you handle the end of the regular season and obviously the long layoff that led into that semifinals game against Norwin?
Yeah, it was difficult. I believe, we had 13 days off. So, a lot of practice. We had 2 scrimmages. So we brought some good teams in to scrimmage. A lot of practice. I gave them, I think 2 days off on the weekends, but it's really hard to, reset, refocus. And I think, that, showed a little bit in the early innings of the Norwin game. However, we stayed composed and worked through it. But yeah, definitely with that bye early on and 13 days off, that's difficult for any team.
I know that you made some lineup changes. We saw at different times throughout the regular season, you would bring girls off the bench maybe halfway through the game and insert them. And you had a little bit different of a lineup in the postseason game as well. It's, I'm sure, a luxury to have probably a dozen or so capable players, but how have you juggled that? And what have you really found out about the best lineup that you can put out there?
Yeah, I'm constantly looking to put the best lineup on the field. And, it's very beneficial, as much as it is a deficit, it's also beneficial that when you play a team 3 times, you have numbers against their pitchers on, who hits well against her and things like that. And we were just struggling a little bit in the leadoff spot. So we made an adjustment and, it seemed to work against Norwin. I'm still evaluating the lineup, for Wednesday, but always looking at, who's done what against this pitcher the past 2 times. There's really no surprises in 6A with the 9-team section.
And so the other aspect that's really, I think, notable is that you're going against maybe the best pitcher and perhaps the best player in the entire state. I don't think that's an exaggeration to say that about Lexi Hames. You were the only team that defeated them, however, and you got 3 runs against her in your first time meeting. Do you notice that maybe you have some players who do feel confident going against her?
Yeah, we have beat her at home at Hempfield. I think, Alexi is, outstanding player, obviously. We give her as much credit as she deserves. I think, a big thing with us and her is, pitch selection and, try not to make her better than she already is. But yeah, it's going to be, I think they, have confidence because they have beat her before. So.
You are a terrific pitcher in your career. So when you look at Hames, obviously she's done a lot well. What makes her so challenging for the opposition?
Honestly, she really mixes the ball around up and down in the zone. She does a great job at that. Keeping our hitters off balance. She throws really hard. Then she'll mix in, some down stuff and some up speeds and spins. And she really does well managing the zone. So
what does
it's
your
a lot
pitcher,
of chases?
Your
Yeah.
pitcher, Riley Miller, is great in her own right. What does she do well, and does she maybe take this as an opportunity and a challenge to go against the very best?
Yeah, Riley is outstanding. Riley is probably the best control I've seen of a pitcher at her age ever. She puts the ball exactly where you call it. She really doesn't miss. And, that's huge because when you start missing, the spots are missing white, that's when, you have the hard hits and the line drives. Riley really does well on her placing the ball exactly where we call it.
I know that Seneca Valley has lost just one game all season. That was against
Mhm.
your team. What will be the biggest keys to success to knock them off for a second time?
I think we just really got to work on putting the ball in play, and trying to manufacture some runs, get girls into scoring position. That's going to be my goal, get girls into scoring position and then see what happens. I mean, we've had a full week of preparation going into this game. And we've been preparing for her. But yeah, I think that's going to be our biggest goal is to get girls on base, put the ball in play and get in scoring position.
Lastly, I know that this is not an unfamiliar spot for Hempfield area getting to a WPIAL championship game, but just in your second season, it is the first time that you've reached a championship. And I would think for all these players, that's the same case as well. How do you handle the excitement versus the pressure and nerves that come with Wednesday?
Yeah, we talk about pressure and nerves a lot. And I think you could see that and feel that a little bit against Norwin. None of these girls on this current team have played in a WPIAL final. However, a lot of them have played, big time summer ball games. So I just try to talk about, staying calm, working through it, trying to tone it all out. I mean, it's going to be a big stage. A lot of people are going to be there to see them play. We talk about it a lot, just doing their game and being prepared and being confident.
Well, hopefully that confidence yields success.
Yes.
Tina, thank you so much for doing this. Once again, congrats on getting to this point and good luck going forward.
Thanks, Sean.